mode. Oh, okay, we're now broadcasting.
I didn't know there was a practice mode. Jeez. It's only been a year, I guess.
I can't wait to start. This has just been so crazy. Oh, good, Chris is here. All right, so I have 5:30. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to our Planning and Development meeting of March 17th, 2021. We have a short agenda tonight. We have two special events to approve, and we have a third very brief Scrivener's error to approve. So without further ado, I would just like to announce who's on the call. We have me, Val Gilman, and we have Jen Holgram, Counselor at Large, and Barry Pett, who's the third member of our City Council. And we also have Chris Sucaranza, who is our Assistant CAO, and Leanne Sinos, who is our City Clerk. And then we have two guests that are here that will be speaking on their matters. So let's begin the meeting. And the first order of business, oh, no, let me make sure that I understand the rules here during COVID. All votes must be roll call. This meeting is recorded by video and audio in accordance with state open meeting law, consistent with the governor's orders suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and banning gatherings of more than 10 people. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation. If you're calling in on the phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you're watching on a computer device, there's a raised hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either options to speak. So the first order of business is special events application, request to hold the Cape Ann Farmers Market on Thursdays, June 3rd, 2021 through October 14th, 2021. And I just wanted to comment that the Special Events Advisory Committee, of which Joanne Sinos is on, and the Planning Development Committee are approving special event applications for farmers markets because they are considered essential services. So let's begin and ask, I believe it's Alana who is here to talk about this, correct?
Hi.
And would you introduce yourself and tell us about this exciting event planned for this summer?
Val,
Yeah.
So
could I just interrupt? I think you just said the Cape Ann Farmers Market and Alana is the Magnolia. So she's second on the agenda.
I'm sorry. So Courtney is first on the agenda. Okay, thanks for the correction, Joanna. I appreciate it. So, so Courtney, would you introduce yourself and tell us about this exciting event? And just to let you know, our job on the City Council is only because there's some road closures, and that's why we have to get involved. Okay, so that's the most important thing that we will hear about, but we'll hear about the whole event too, because we'd love to find out more. So tell us what's going on.
Thanks so much, everyone. My name is Courtney Ayer. I'm here representing the Cape Ann Farmers Market. I've been involved with the farmers market for about 8 years in various capacities, but just in the beginning of 2020, I took over as the director. We have been a market since 2006. Recently, we've been at Stage Fort Park for about a decade, and our application is to move to downtown to Harbor Loop. We are still under Department of Public Health guidelines, COVID restrictions, so that will guide everything we do this year. So unfortunately, some of the wonderful community programs that we have won't be running this year, but we'll be excited to get back to those next year. So it'll just be a farmer and food focused event for this year.
Great.
And one thing I do want to mention is that something we're really proud of and that we really spend a lot of time putting our efforts into and our money into and our time is our food access programs. And that's even going to be more bolstered this year. So we offer SNAP and EBT, the Healthy Incentives Program, which is another food access program through the state of Mass, WIC coupons, senior farmers market coupons, all of those wonderful things. So, yeah.
That's great. So how is it all going to fit in on Harbor Loop? Can you just kind of let us visualize it before we Go ahead, Council Pat has a question.
Yeah, not a question. I just would like to make a declaration, if I could. As the president of the Gloucester Fund, we do a lot of the grant funding for the Cape Ann Farmers Market goes through the Gloucester Fund. And I just wanted to acknowledge that and acknowledge that the Gloucester Fund doesn't gain anything financially out of it, et cetera. So doesn't stop me from participating here, but I just wanted to make that declaration.
Great, thank you, Counselor. So Courtney, tell us about how this is all gonna feel and look at this new venue.
Sure. So hopefully you got a copy of the site map that I attached to our application. And, you know, we are still working on some details for our site, but from what we understand, we're going to be set up from the Captain Carlos side of Harbor Loop, from where the Coast Guard station driveway is, over down to where that restaurant parking starts. So past Maritime, straight down kind of in front of that Cape Ann oil parking lot, and then stop there. That gives us about 260 feet to work with. Like I said, we're going to be working out some of the details with the neighbors as we go. Have really great support coming from Chamber of Commerce and really great support coming from Maritime. So I think that they'll be great partners to work with in the future. Yeah, so we're just trying to figure out how many vendors we can fit and still stay under the COVID guidelines. Of course, when these restrictions are lifted, we'll be able to be more creative with kind of where we can set up on the loop. But for now, we're going to stay in that perimeter.
Okay, and then what specifically to the road closures are you asking us to consider?
So I think what would work well for us, if you permit it, is from past, well, I'm not sure how you usually do it, but we would need that area for sure blocked off.
Yep.
You know, we do understand we need to keep room for emergency vehicles, but we can't have anybody driving through that actual part of the market because there's people walking around. So yeah, so I think from the building center side, still allowing traffic to come down up until the Harbor Masters driveway would be fine. And then we would start there and go around, and then the restaurant would still need to have access to their driveway. So it's just kind of that, I mapped it out. I think it's about 260 feet.
Okay. Well,
That
you'd be
make sense?
glad to know that we've had many events here, so we kind of have a standard type of procedure that we've ironed out with the police that they're comfortable with. So I think you feel comforted knowing how comprehensive this all is, to make sure that your vendors are safe and that the people that are visiting are safe. And that's
Thank
why
you.
council gets involved. So
Yeah, wonderful. And we have had really wonderful support from Jill Cahill over at Community Development, and also Mark Cole from the DPW. So they're really doing everything they can to help us as well.
great.
Yeah.
And Joanne, do you have anything before we open this up for questions? Do you have anything from the Special Events Committee that you'd like to mention? Seeing that
No,
you
it was mostly vetted through all the departments for parking and also access, like Courtney said, to the Coast Guard station, the restaurant, and Harbor Master's office or the Maritime Heritage. So all the questions were answered. The certificate of insurance, they don't have yet, but we'll have it in the condition that they need to provide that before they open on May 24th. So all of the other questions have been met. And they are a farmer's market, so it's considered essential. They know they need, according to the ordinance, 2 or more farmers to be considered a farmer's market. So the committee didn't really have any concerns about it. Even though like it is a smaller type event than what is normally had before pre-COVID. So everything was kind of like ironed out, I think, before with Jill Cahill, before she came to special events. So that's why it just got approved on, with the committee unanimously.
Great. And I see that you consistently continue to state that the approval is based on the status of the current situation, which is COVID, and is subject to change based on any stay-at-home orders, public park or beach closures, et cetera, as made by the state and the city. And it's good to know that that is always out there in all of our motions as a condition.
Yes.
Because we're better safe than sorry. And we're
And
moving.
also, you know,
as this is-
yeah, sorry. When the applicants do come before the SEAC, we've always stressed that it's on our website, on the city clerk's office. For, you know, the application, hopefully we'll get it online pretty soon, maybe after April 1st.
Yep.
That, you know, it does have the caveat that they have the right to cancel the event, you know, if anything changes with the guidelines up in 48 hours or the day of the event.
Great.
Mhm. And we have our kind of COVID regulations that we send to vendors and how we're going to run everything. We are in contact with Brian from the health department. So he's approving all of those plans as we make them and as we go.
Let me ask you a question, counselors. Do you think we need to add to the conditions to something that that there will be a formal request that everyone is masked, or is that just assumed?
I would think that's assumed.
It's in the
I
DP.
would think that, okay, I would think that is based on, you know, on the, you know, state and
Right.
and federal and state guidelines as to what's going on at the time. And I don't think that we need to specifically ask, since it already says that anything can be changed. I don't think we need to, you know, add anything into the motions to do
Okay.
that. They've covered that in their application, and
Yep.
the SEAC has already, you know, all the different departments down to the DPW and the police and the Board of Health have already signed off on it. So I think if they're comfortable with that, I don't think we should
Okay.
need to add, you know, anything on our own. I think it's really clear, you know, clear and clean
Sounds
cut,
great.
so to speak. So I don't think we need to add anything more.
And Courtney, it sounds like you already have spoken to the vendors about those expectations, correct?
Yes, yeah. We you know, as I'm beginning to talk to them, and then we put all of these guidelines in writing and make sure they have them and they sign off on them. So the expectations are very clear.
Great. I'm
Yeah.
really comfortable. So counselors, any questions about the event to Courtney or about the street closure?
No questions.
Go ahead, Council Pat.
Yeah, my only question, and this would probably actually be best answered by Joanne as a member of the SEAC. I know the application lists all the things that have been done, et cetera, and we've heard about the coordination, but I just wanted to get a thumbs up from a member of the SEAC about the fact that you have the DPW, the fire and police signed off on the street closure setup and access. That's my biggest concern here. You know, it's going to be a new thing going back. We have had events down there, but I want to make sure that that coordination is there and has been signed off by both police, fire, and DPW, and obviously the harbor master and the Coast Guard.
Yes, it has been signed off at every meeting. Well, it was established when we started the remote meetings that the committee gave permission as they were voting, yes or no, to sign their initials, and I just put my initials against it. So the application does have the sign-offs of all the departments. Yes.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, Council Holgram, are you prepared to make the motion?
Yes, I am.
All right.
I move that the Planning and Development Committee vote to recommend that the City Council permit the Cape Ann Farmers Market to be held on Thursdays from June 3rd, 2021 through October 14th, 2021 during the hours of 3 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. with the following conditions. 1, Harbor Loop to be closed to two-way traffic beginning at the Coast Guard Station driveway, continuing past the Maritime Heritage Center to end across from the Captain Carlos parking lot. The market will be set up on one side of the road so as to have one-way traffic. 2, a certificate of insurance naming the City of Gloucester as certificate holder is to be on file with the city clerk's office no later than May 24th, 2021, or in lieu of a certificate of insurance, a letter from the city's chief administrative officer stating that the city is responsible for the insurance. 3, applicant is to notify all abutters of the closed area of Harbor Loop in advance of the events. 4, applicant is responsible for providing adequate trash and/or recycling receptacles for vendors. 5, due to the current situation, all vendors, except those excluded by state law, are to obtain city vending permits from the office of the city clerk 10 days prior to the start of the event. 6, that the Cape Ann Farmers Market must have 2 or more farmers primarily selling products grown, produced, or raised by farmers present in order to constitute a farmers market in keeping with the Mass Department of Agricultural Resources policy for mass farmers markets and with the definition in the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 11. 7, Harbor Loop will be one-way traffic only from 12:30 p.m. to 8:00 p.m. for setup and breakdown. 5, approval is based on the status of the current situation and is subject to change based on any stay-at-home orders, public park or beach closures, etc., as made by the state or the city, and I so move.
Second,
Second.
I'll give the second to Barry because he has a delay, but it's usually your job, Counselor. So anyway, thank you. Is there further discussion?
I would like to thank Courtney and the entire Cape Ann Farmers Market team for doing the proverbial pivot and probably many, many pivots. Sorry, Joanne. Okay.
I just wanted to put my finger up because I do want to say one thing. I want to ask a question. Okay, but go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, and I'm looking forward to coming to visit.
Thanks so much.
That's awesome. Okay, we'll ask Joanne Sinos, our city clerk, to ask your question.
I probably should have asked this of the committee at the beginning of the meeting. Farmers markets are essential. So, but last year when special events was advisory committee was approving events, it had to go to council. So I was going to ask whether this committee is going to decide whether to go to full council, or since it's an essential service, we just keep it at P&D.
I think that's a good,
That's a good
I don't see
question.
any delay at all because I know that our council would approve this,
Mhm.
but be consistent with our agreement. I would think that we'd want to bring this up out of committee report
I
as
think we should.
on the agenda. It's a good
I
point.
agree.
Council Pett
Yeah.
and Holgram both agree?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, I absolutely agree.
okay. Do we want to, I guess, our motion is broad enough that I think we don't have to amend it.
No, we don't. I
No.
should have asked this question as we were speaking.
Yeah,
But then after it, I was just thinking about it being consistent from last year.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether the caveat where it was a farmer's market and it was an essential service, whether you would waive having it go to the full council for a vote.
Yeah. And I think exactly. I think the way the first paragraph is written gives us that latitude. So I don't think we have to amend it.
As
Okay.
Councillor LeBlanc would say, I think everybody should have a bite of the apple. And it's a
Okay.
literal apple because it's a farmer's market.
There you
I'm
go.
going to stop now. Okay.
Thank you. Council Pett, any comments in the discussion on this matter?
No, nope. Just fine, wonderful. Happy that we're going to be able to hopefully move forward with the farmers markets again this year. And for me, it'll be closer so I can walk. I look forward to it. And thank you for your work, Courtney, and the rest of the farmers market team.
Great.
And thank you to the administration for all their work in making this work.
It's great.
Thank
And
you
I
all
would
so
just like,
much.
I would just like to echo what Council Holgram and Pat said, and I'm also touched that you had the foresight to bring in Open Door and SNAP and all those organizations that support the whole premise of a farmer's market and doing the right things, particularly for people that are maybe finding that they're having a harder time paying bills right now. And it's all a wonderful thing. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for the support.
Thank you. So let's do a roll call vote. Council Holgram,
Yes.
Council Pat,
Yes.
Council Gilman. Yes, the yeses have it, 3 in favor, 0 opposed. We'll look forward to bringing it to the City Council on Tuesday. Thank you. Next on, thank you, Courtney. The next order of business is special events application request to hold the Magnolia Community Farmers Market on Sundays, June 6, 2021 through October 10th, 2021. And we are delighted to have Alana Horn here to tell us about it, and with special attention to the road closures as well. So I'm delighted to have you there. And if one of your little munchkins is in the background, we're all chill. It doesn't really matter. We've had dogs on our calls. My husband was just screaming for me and I had to put him on mute. This is all about Zoom and we're all in it together. So
I should have dropped her off at Jen's house. Everything Courtney said, only for Magnolia. How's that? The Magnolia Community Farmers Market, last year we ran completely virtual. We were approved by the city to do a regular street market, even though everything was just kind of haywire, and we decided at the last minute to transform the entire thing, and we went completely virtual. We had an online platform with pre-order checkout, and we were able to work with the owners of the Magnolia Pub to utilize their parking lot for a contactless drive-through tent, which was way more successful than we even actually had imagined it was. So we're kind of riding high on that still, and we're pretty excited to be back on the street. But because it went so well, we are also going to be still operating in a pre-order fashion for people who are not comfortable on the street yet. The Lexington Ave will be closed from what used to be Sherry's Corner Cafe and is no more. So from 2 Lexington Ave all the way down to 24 Lexington Ave, which gives us 269 feet, according to Google, to spread out our tents socially distanced. I know you had mentioned earlier about masks. We've already told all of our vendors and farmers that masks are required unless something amazing happens with the CDC between now and then. Masks will be required by vendors, by farmers, by shoppers, by anybody on the street. We also have intentions of setting up hand sanitizing stations. We have a couple of volunteers who have already stated that they'll sit at a market table at one end of the street and count people as they come in to make sure that we're not overcrowding the space that we have. We have 3 farmers already signed up. We have 1 more in the works. Plus we have, I think, 6 food vendors already lined up. And we have applications out to another 15 of them. So based on the number of spaces that we can offer, based on the number of feet between the start and the finish of the barricades, which would go from Norman Ave to Flume Ave, Flume. I think that we could feasibly, with social distancing available, with tents spaced out, we could feasibly put about 20 vendors in there if we got that many. We had that many last year on our online platform, but a lot of people have said that they are only interested in the online platform. They don't want to be a street vendor this year. So we've got a lot of different angles that we can work, but we're happy to be back on the street. And that's kind of the most important thing that, I think that the Magnolian community needs is that, we have a lot of people that they don't commute regularly into town, and they don't have the access to different food options that would be elsewhere. And Sunday morning is a quiet morning in Magnolia, so we're not really interfering with anybody else's hustle and bustle, especially now that Sherry's is no longer there, and none of the businesses on Lexington Ave, with the exception of Dunks, are open in the mornings when we open. So we're not impeding any of the businesses. And to that end, Dunks is remarkably busy on Sunday mornings with us there. So I don't think that they're too much hurting for the business when we pulled together the market in the past. I have 5 people working under me right now, or with me, I should say, not under me. We're all together and we're all equal in this. And we've worked our tails off to turn this market around from what it used to be. And we're pretty proud of what we've rolled out. So I'm very much looking forward to this season.
Do you care to share who those 5 people are so we can give them a little recognition?
Absolutely. My cohorts are Rebecca Doyon of Magnolia, and Ning Gallo and Dylan Enos of Rockport, and Greg Fahrenkopf, who actually is also one of my vendors. And is he West Gloucester? He's West Gloucester. And we have a special honorary member who's not really a member of our team, but he's always there. And that's our buddy Jackson over in Magnolia. And he is, I think he's actually a senior this year at Gloucester High School. And he shows up at every market. He helps us with hand sanitization. He helps us with moving boxes when necessary.
Aw.
And he said that he's going to be our counter this year. So we're going to make sure that we have a special job for him this year as well.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. It takes a village, and you guys really have a
Let's
good.
take a
handle on
village, and especially in Magnolia, we're a pretty tight knit village down here. So
that. Yeah, that's awesome. Great. Joanne, do you have anything to add from Special Events Committee?
No, like I said on the previous one, it was vetted through all the departments. No one had any issues. When they were on the street before, it was very well organized. The DPW, I guess, set up the horses. The police department didn't have any complaints. And last year, you know, just hearing about it on the virtual drive-through, it was successful. So nobody had any concerns about it.
I would also like to point out that my husband actually works for the DPW, so he was very helpful in getting us, you know, the neon vests that we're supposed to wear, which I mean worked last year because it was virtual, but this year we'll also be doing it as well. And he was able to get us the barricades, and the DPW was awesome. They let us store them ourselves so that we didn't have to cart them back and forth every week. And we only actually had, when last year we didn't have any issues that required police assistance. The year before we had, I think 2 issues. One guy who just insisted that he had to drive to Dunks and he just drove right in. And then another guy who just refused to move his car. But I don't think either of those ever really escalated to anything important. But those are our only issues that we had the previous year.
Great. All right. Any other questions, counselors?
No.
Okay, this is kind of a repeat. So Council Holgram, do you mind just reading through the motion?
No, not at all. I move that the Planning and Development Committee vote to recommend that the City Council permit the Magnolia Community Farmers Market to be held on Sundays from June 6th, 2021 through October 10th, 2021 during the hours of 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. with the following conditions. 1. Lexington Avenue is to be closed from Norman Avenue to Flume Road with appropriate signage posted at either end of Lexington Avenue, advising motorists of alternative routes. 2, a certificate of insurance naming the City of Gloucester as certificate holder is to be on file with the City Clerk's office no later than May 27th, 2021, or in lieu of a certificate of insurance, a letter from the city's chief administrative officer stating that the city is responsible for the insurance. 3, applicant is to notify all abutters of the closed area of Lexington Avenue in advance of the events. 4, applicant is responsible for providing adequate trash receptacles and for removal of same. 5, due to the current situation, all vendors except those excluded by state law are to obtain city vending permits from the office of the city clerk 10 days prior to the start of the event. 6, that the Magnolia Farmers Market must have 2 or more farmers primarily selling products grown, produced, or raised by farmers present in order to constitute a farmers market in keeping with the Mass Department of Agricultural Resources policy for mass farmers markets and with the definition in the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 11. 7, Lexington Avenue will be closed at 8:30 a.m. for events set up and reopen at 2:00 p.m. 8, approval is based on the status of the current situation and is subject to change based on any stay-at-home orders, public park or beach closures, etc., as made by the state or the city. And I so move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Council Holgram, seconded by Council Pat. Is there discussion? Council Holgram.
This is so exciting. Thank you, Alana, and the whole team for bringing your energy back to the farmers market. I'm really excited. There's going to be an online component. Again, we took full advantage of that almost every single week. And we're actually, we stocked up on jam and other stuff. It's been in our kitchen larder all winter. We're
Oh, what
just
kind of-
about out.
One
So
of our jam vendors is already back too, so you're good.
yay, that's exciting.
I would also like it to be put in these minutes that Ms. Holmgren was one of our biggest supporters. She was there every morning that we were there. She was always first in line. And
Oh,
I've forgotten I had to call her. She was taking videos, she was posting about us, she was sharing about us. She was seriously one of our biggest supporters. And
That's
we're
awesome.
eternally grateful for your support, Jen.
thank
Good
you.
job.
I was so happy to do it. This is really, really essential. Doesn't even begin to describe. I mean, you guys and the Cape Ann Farmers Market, we couldn't do it without you. Truly. Thank you.
Thank you, both.
Thank you, guys.
Council Pat, anything to add?
The only thing I have is I see, Chris Sicarenza's on here, and if he comes to either one of these farmers markets, he has to do it not in a not in a suit, etc. And it's nice to at least see now that we see him that he has a green toned tie on today. So
Very nice. I'm impressed.
thank you for representing the administration here this evening to Chris.
I think I hope everyone knows on this call, including Alana, not only am I a big fan of everything going on in Magnolia, but these represent a lot of hard work across a lot of the stakeholders here of trying to make sure that we're putting together the right stuff in a critical time. And I think outdoor spaces, especially a year ago, as we reflect back on it, was one of the unique places where we could actually have outdoor activities in a way that we could see and showcase to the state and frankly to the country that there's some good stuff going on. But that's for the leadership of people on this call, including Alana and Councilor Holmgren and everyone else here. And I'm very proud. And being formerly of the licensing board, a lot of hard work has gone into this, and in the special events advisory with Madam Clerk as well. It's a team, and I'm very proud of all of us. And I couldn't be more proud to be here tonight to help represent the administration. But I'll be right behind Councilor Holmgren to help support whatever I can be with cash in hand. So thank you again, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd just like to summarize by saying thank you so much, Alana, for your leadership and the community involvement that you have and your enthusiasm. And in spite of everything that you're juggling, you really just set the bar really high for volunteerism. So thank you so much. And I'm going to be over there right behind Councilor Holgram, because by then we're all going to be vaccinated, and I'll have my mask on, but I'll be happy to be in line after Councilor Holgram. So that's great.
Can't wait to see you there.
Great. So let's vote. Councilor Holgram,
Yes.
Councilor Pat,
Yes.
Councilor Gilman. Yes, the yeses have it. 3 in favor, 0 opposed. And we'll take this up Tuesday night with the city council. So thank you so much. Get back to you. Tell them that the counselor thinks that they've been really well behaved.
You're getting a call from Sean Nolan if they don't behave, and they know it. Thanks, guys.
Good night. The last order of business is poll petition 2021-001, request by National Grid to install one JO pole on Whittam Street, beginning at a point approximately 60 feet northwest of the central line of the intersection of Whittam Street and Thatcher Road, and continuing approximately 0 feet in a northerly direction. This is for information only. It's a correction to the Scrivener's error on the application from 60 feet northwest to 50 feet northwest. And I was delighted that Grace jumped on that after our last meeting, and she immediately asked Vinny to amend and actually redo the application. And so our records are perfectly aligned with the actual location for this pole. And we just wanted to bring this up in a public meeting that we've corrected the application, and Mike Hale is aware of that. So it's a closed loop, and I personally thank Grace Poirier for taking the initiative to make sure that we had closed that loop. So anyway, is there any other things to bring up? Okay,
Happy St. Patrick's Day for those who are celebrating.
yeah,
You know, many places have already sold out of their, boiled dinner, but I would encourage anyone that's, that's on that can go out and support our local restaurants and, that's what I'm gonna do when I get off here. That's what I'm doing, is going out to pick some up.
awesome.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Happy
St.
St.
Patrick's
Thank you.
Patrick's Day, everybody. Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? I'll second it.
Second.
Roll call, Council Holgram,
Yes.
Council Pat,
Yes.
Council Gilman. Yes. Okay. Happy St.
Good night,
Patrick's.
everybody.
Good night.
Thank
Have a
you.
good one, guys.
Thank you, Joanne. Thanks, Chris.
Take care.